This video is for learning outcome 3, understand product development, and this one is about 3.2, the extension strategies for products. So what is an extension strategy? So it's basically an action that a business can take to extend the life of a product. So in the previous video, we looked at what happens when a product becomes or nears the end of its life cycle. So what we can do is businesses can take action to extend the life of that product. And obviously that's going to have lots of benefits. So the first one is obviously cost. So production costs can be expensive to develop new products. So you can save quite a lot of money by expanding the life of the existing products that you have. Time. Now obviously it's going to take quite a lot of time to develop new products and get them all cleared and ready to go and tested and make sure that they're good quality. So it would be a lot better for you to save that time if you can extend the life of your existing products. And reputation. Now obviously just removing a product from your market can actually damage the reputation of your business, in the sense that you will have lots of customers that really want that product. And if you keep removing products from your line, then you might get a bit of a negative reputation. So when does the life extension actually come into play? Let's take a look at this graph that we looked at for the last video. So this will look familiar to you. Now, when the actual extension strategy takes place, it's usually at the decline stage. So when we reach this point here, that is when we are going to try and put some strategy in place to extend the life before it begins to decline. So what we're trying to do is, instead of this decline line going down here, what we're trying to do is get it to extend and carry on going this way, or at least level off and remain at the top. So there are a number of different methods that you can use to try and extend the life of a product. The ones that you need to know are advertising, changing the product price, adding value to the product, the exploration of new markets, and new packaging. So we're going to look at each of these individually. So first of all, we're looking at advertising. So investing in a new advertising campaign can actually really help to extend the life of your product. Basically, the longer a product has been in the market, people might just kind of lose a little bit of awareness of it, and you need to keep that product in the people's minds all the time. You need to keep reminding them of that product and kind of put that little deep seed into their brain, make them actually want to go out and buy that product that they've already had before. So with a few of the examples I put at the bottom, everybody knows Lucozade, Mars and Coca-Cola. They are definitely in the maturity stage of the market, and all of those are very well known products, but they are still being advertised regularly. And that is to keep that lifespan going. That is to keep extending that life cycle. It's to stop it entering the decline. They don't want to see a fall in sales of these products. So the benefits of advertising is, if you do a good campaign, it can really remind customers of how good that product is. Another thing it can do is, you've got a wide coverage. So a lot of advertising nowadays, it has a worldwide audience using the internet. Another benefit is that you've got full control of what it is that you want to say about your product. So it's all down to you how good that you make it look. Another benefit is that it can help to build brand loyalty. The longer you stay in the market and the more you keep advertising your brand, it's going to help to build loyalty with your customers. Then we've also got some negatives. So some advertising campaigns can be high cost. In other words, you can spend quite a lot of money on advertising. There are no guarantees, so you might do a really, really good campaign, or what you think is a good campaign, but it doesn't really sit well with your customers and it doesn't have the effect that you wanted. Another disadvantage is that they can be quite difficult to personalize. So if you've got quite a large audience, it can be quite difficult to make it suitable for all of your different customers. It's also a one-way form of communication, so you're not actually sure how well it's doing until you do a bit of research after the campaign's finished. Changing the price is a common and pretty easy thing to do to extend the lifespan of a product. So when we look at changing the price, this can go in two ways, obviously. You can most commonly find that they will lower the price of the product. And lowering the price of the product is going to make that product appeal to new customers. It could also promote more sales, so it's an easy way of getting your sales to go back up. The obvious disadvantage of that is that you're going to get less profits, because if you're reducing the price, even if you get more sales, it's going to take quite a lot more sales for you to continue to make your profits. Now, the other thing you can do is increase the price, and that is something that you could do. However, there's a lot of risks that go along with it. Usually by increasing the price of a product, you are going to enter a different type of market. So for example, let's say you increased the price of a pair of jeans that you were selling and you put it up to over £100. You've basically entered a prestigious clothing market. So you entered a completely separate market that might help to extend the lifespan of that product. Now, raising the price could lose a lot of your existing customers and they might go elsewhere. It can also price people out of the market completely, so you are basically eliminating a massive part of your customer base. And people are going to also expect a higher quality of product. So if the product quality that you are selling, if the quality of the product that you're selling is not the best, then you can't really do this kind of option, because people are going to be expecting a real high quality product if they're paying more money for it. So that's probably why the most common method that they do is to lower the price. And this happens quite regularly. You will see all the time products that have been reduced in price, and this is because they've probably got low sales and they're doing it to try and extend the lifespan of that product. So next we look at adding value. Now what this basically means is adding new features to the product. So the product will stay very, very similar, and this happens quite regularly as well with the kind of bigger brands' mainstay products. It can happen with things like Hoovers, the way they'll get slightly better, slightly more power, a longer battery life. All that kind of stuff is classed as adding value. The most common one that you might be familiar with is with games consoles, where they bring out a particular model and then a couple of years later, when all the sales have gone right down and starting to dwindle, they'll bring out a new version of the same console. And this could be like a slightly different design, the way the slim consoles, for example, the way they're slightly smaller. Sometimes they've got extra features like more memory in them or better graphics card and so on. Also happens quite a lot with products becoming wireless versions where they've got the cable removed as well. So the obvious benefit of this method is that it can be really effective, especially when you are an established brand like Sony. You can also charge a lot more for the products, so you can bring out a new version and hike up the price a little bit. You can also gain an advantage over your competitors if you bring out a new version of your product that makes it slightly better than theirs. The main benefit is that it helps you to retain customers, but also attract new customers. So people might think, well, I'm actually going to get that new PlayStation now because it's got this feature and this feature that I want in my particular console. The disadvantages of this are it can be costly to redevelop your product, especially if you're making quite big changes to it. Also, there must be a demand for that updated product. There's no point in spending all that time and money to redevelop it if no one really wants it. So another method that you can use is exploring new markets. So this is where you try to sell the exact same product, but in a different market. And that could be in an actual location, as in try to sell it in a different part of the world, or it could be to try and target another segment. For example, if you are a company that makes products and you're specifically aiming them at men, then one method you could do is to try and look at what you could do to that product to try and sell it to females as well. It could also be something like moving by setting up a new branch in a new part of the country, or starting to sell your products on a worldwide scale. So the benefits of this is obviously there's a large global population, so you can increase your customer base massively, which can obviously increase your profits. The disadvantage of exploring a new market is that some products are limited, where they might not be needed in a lot of these other countries. Another disadvantage is that it's going to be very costly to distribute around the world. So another method that we can use is new packaging. And this is where the product stays exactly the same, but you package it differently. So that could be the use of different logos, colors, and images to attract new customers or even a new audience. Now, this method can be combined with also entering into a new market. So the examples we see at the bottom, with Diet Coke being called Coca-Cola Light, in some parts of the world, you're not allowed to call it Diet Coke because they don't see it as being an actual diet item. They don't think of it as being part of a healthy diet. So you have to just call it Coca-Cola Light because it doesn't actually have any dietary benefits. The cream egg in the example in the bottom right, where it's been rebranded to come in halves, where you can basically buy it as a double and then you split it between two people. Now that is a new packaging method designed to try and help people eat a little bit less or consume less calories. Then the Walker's example in the bottom middle, you will know them as Walker's crisps, but in different countries they are called different brand names. So basically they've had to rebrand the packaging to be suitable for those different markets. Now the benefits of doing new packaging is it's obviously a very cheap method. Doesn't cost you a lot of money to redevelop your packaging. It can easily attract a different audience. So for example, if you were trying to target a different part of the market, you can do simple things with colors to try and attract different members of the public. You can also give a different perception of quality by making the packaging that you use a little bit better quality. It makes the actual product look better quality as well. The disadvantages are that some products need large packaging, and also some packaging might have a short life. For example, if you were doing new packaging just for a Christmas period, you need to make sure that all those products sell before the product packaging is wasted. So that's all of the different methods that we need to look at for extending a product's life. If you have any questions, send me an email and I'll get back to you.